In this video, I'm going to be rating and improving you guys' teams here in NBA 2K23 Myteam. And as usual, if you want to be featured in the next video, make sure to follow me on Twitter at GrimFateYT, and you can go ahead and be in the next video because I'll put out another tweet in the next couple of days announcing, and you guys just have to reply to that tweet and you'll be in the next video. But make sure to go ahead and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. And let's get straight into the teams featured in today's videos. There's a bunch of teams, so make sure you stick around. You're going to see yourself. You have 180,000 MT, and shout out to that boy Patrick. Let's get into this team right here. You've got Jokic, Bender, Bobo, Taco, and Murasan. Absolutely great starting lineup. Right away, I would say put Murasan at the power forward, bring Taco off the bench, and put Yao at the starting center, and I think your team will become a lot better. And then other than that, the main improvement I would make is that small forward off the bench. I would look to pick up someone like Tracy McGrady, Dark Matter. That'll make the team a lot better. But let's move into the next squad, which is going to be by Dimitri. You have 920,000 MT. You've got Giannis, Tim Thomas, Bender, Joel Embiid, and Manute Bol, and then a great bench as well. I would mainly say for this lineup, I know it sucks to do it, but I would just move Embiid to the backup power forward, and then move Yao Ming to the starting center and Manute to the power forward. It sucks to have to put Embiid on the bench because you had to grind 40 levels for him, but I think it'll make your team a lot better. And if you really do have 920,000 MT, I mean, you just need to stack your team out with end games and stuff, and it'll become a lot better. Mikhail, your team is elite. There is nothing I can say about this squad right here. This is insanely, this is definitely the best team I've seen so far this video, and it probably will be the best team of today's video. So to be honest, I can't sit here and say there's anything you can improve for this squad. You right here, and I take back what I just said because this is clearly the best team of today's video. If you guys didn't see, he does have this Emerald Brian Scalabrine, and that just puts him over the top, in my opinion, as the #1 squad of today's video. But let's move into the next team, Angel Gant. You are making it into the video, my boy. You got Curry, T-Mac, Tim Thomas, Taco, and Yao Ming. That's a great starting lineup. Off the bench, you have Luka, Darius Garland, Stephen Marbury, Ralph Sampson, and LeBron. So you definitely need some work on your bench. Your starting lineup is good. I would look to get as your backup point guard Ben Simmons. I think he's going to be better than Luka at that backup point, and you can move Luka to the backup shooting guard. Then in terms of backup small forward, I would look to get somebody like I would probably say Lauri Markkanen could be decent. Or honestly, I would get Jonathan Bender and move T-Mac to the bench, and I think your team will become a lot better. This is the team right here. You've got LaMelo, Ricky Davis, Kenyon Martin, Bobo, and Tim Duncan. First things first, you need to get Kenyon Martin off the team completely. I know he's unauctionable, but just don't even play him. He sucks. Or bring him off the bench, if anything. Move Bobo to the small forward. Move Tim Duncan to the power forward. And get a tall center. Look to get somebody like a Mark Eaton for only about 10 to 15K. Other than that, just look to improve by getting guys like Tim Thomas and Jonathan Bender to go ahead and fill in that shooting guard in the backup small forward spot. 95,000 MT. Looking for a point guard and a power forward, so let's see what you can do here. You definitely need a better point guard. That Sean Livingston is not going to get it done. I would look to get out of position Nikola Jokic for sure. He's going to be way better, and with 95,000 MT, you can easily get that card. At the power forward, again, I would move Murasan to the power forward, bring Taco off the bench, and get Yao Ming as your starting center, and I think your team will become a lot better. 50,000 MT, you've got Magic Johnson, Jonathan Bender, Dirk, Murasan, and Yao Ming. That's an elite starting lineup. That's like a 10 out of 10 lineup right there. Nothing I can say with that. Off the bench, you've got Jokic, Kuzma, Bobo, Mobley, and Ralph Sampson. This is a really elite team. That Mobley is really good, but me personally, I like having really tall power forwards. I just think it's better to have somebody that can just rebound over anybody and just paint mash. So I would get Pink Diamond Taco as your backup power forward. And then for the backup shooting guard, that Kyle Kuzma is a good card, so I like it. That's a good team. Luka Doncic, T-Mac, Bobo, Murasan, and Yao Ming. Again, I would honestly go ahead and get rid of the Luka and get out of position Jokic. I think he's a lot better. Also, I would move Bender, the starting shooting guard, and move T-Mac off the bench. And I think those are the main things you need to do, and your team will become a lot better. And then also, though, I would get rid of the Porzingis and replace him with the Dark Matter Mark Eaton card. He's an inch taller with better animations. Next up, you've got 120,000 MT. Jason Tatum is a good card, so that is definitely somebody to go ahead and pick up, the endgame Jason Tatum. So I honestly would do that if I were you. I think that's a smart move. And then a lot of people use this Livingston. I don't like him personally. I would get Ben Simmons off your bench as the backup point guard. And also with the Pokachevsky, a lot of people like him, but I personally would get I personally think that the dark matter Tim Thomas is better, so I think you should put him there. Next team is going to be 60,000 MT from Gronk. You've got Curry, LaMelo, Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, and Joel Embiid. I'd move Embiid to the power forward, bring Tim Duncan to the backup power forward off the bench, and then get Yao Ming as your starting center. How much MT do you have? 60,000 MT. You can get dark matter Yao, and it's definitely worth the MT. And then from there, just spend a lot of MT improving your bench with guys like Jonathan Bender that can actually go in your starting lineup. But guys like Jonathan Bender, Tim Thomas, Radiant T-Mac are a couple of cards to pick up for the starting lineup and the bench. 103,000 MT, appreciate it. You've got Jokic, Jonathan Bender, Kevin Durant, Murison, and Yao Ming. That's a very good starting lineup. I personally would put Kevin Durant at the shooting guard and then move Bol to the starting small forward. I know that Jonathan Bender is a good card, but I think Durant being at the shooting guard is a lot better because you're going to have a shorter matchup on him, and you're going to be able to take advantage of him much more on offense. Again, off that bench, I'm not too big of a fan of the Luka. I would either get Ben Simmons. I would get Ben Simmons, honestly. I think the Ben is better than the Luka off the bench, and the rest of the team looks really good. This is a really good squad. LaMelo, KD, Tim Thomas, Kristaps, and Ralph Sampson. Really good starting lineup right away. I would look to go ahead and pick up dark matter Yao Ming as a starting center and move Ralph Sampson to the bench. And then I would look to get somebody like a George Murison as your starting power forward. And I think that'll make your team a lot better if you move Porzingis to the bench as well. Then you've got 130,000 MT. You've got Jokic, Jonathan Bender, Bol, Murison, and Yao Ming. This is a really, really good lineup. This is the best budget lineup you can possibly make. And then you've got Ben Simmons, Tim Thomas, Lauri Markkanen, Porzingis, and Ralph Sampson. This is an elite team. The one thing I would say is even though Mark Eaton is cheaper than the Ralph Sampson, they're both the same height, and I actually like the Mark Eaton's animations more. So if you sell the Ralph and get, or you can't sell your Ralph, I guess, but if you get Mark Eaton, I think he is a little bit better at that backup center spot. And I would also think about getting Pink Diamond Taco at the power forward, one that's badged out with at least 20-plus Hall of Fames. Yeah, there's nothing for you to do, my boy. Your team is absolutely stacked out. You definitely have one of the top 2 best teams of today's video. So, again, not much I can say here. Your lineup is amazing. Keep it up. Next team here, Malachi. If I see your team in here, then I'll definitely go ahead and show you. But I don't see your team. So, if we see it, then you're in. LaMelo, KD, Pokachevsky, Porzingis, and Ralph Sampson. And then you've got Baron. All right, Baron Davis needs to go right away. I would honestly look to get Nikola Jokic off that Opal Jokic off the team, and then go ahead and get the dark matter Jokic as your starting point guard, move LaMelo as your backup point guard, get rid of Zion completely, get Tim Thomas as your backup small forward, and then as your power forward, get Taco Fall and replace him and put Porzingis on the bench, and then look to get somebody like an Opal Yao as either your backup center or your starting center over Ralph. Nice bagel, my boy. You've got no, keep it how it is. I think it's fine like that. I think Manute and Taco are the same height. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, then switch them. But the team looks stacked. Let's see what we got here. 310,000 MT. You've got Cade, Kevin Durant, Tim Thomas, Joel Embiid, and Ralph Sampson. Very good starting lineup. Off the bench, you've got Amen Thompson, Rudy Gay, Kenyon Martin, Taco, and Porzingis. I personally would get rid of that Kenyon Martin and replace him with Jonathan Bender. And then in terms of Rudy Gay and Amen Thompson, that's not a bad backcourt, but you definitely could improve it a little bit. You have 100,000 MT. Bender has 50 Hall of Fames. Definitely keep him at that starting shooting guard for sure. Then you got Magic, Wemby, Manute, and George Murison. Elite starting lineup. Off the bench, Lamar, T-Mac, Invincible, Bobo, Ilgauskas, and Mark Eaton. You have a very, very good team. To be honest with you, I would just go ahead. Yeah, there's not much moves you can make. I would just wait for endgames to become cheap, which they will next week, and look to make some improvements in terms of just getting some endgames and some cheesy cards. But again, you have one of the top 3 teams of today's video. Let's go ahead and move into the next team, though. You've got Lamar Odom, Jonathan Bender, Bobo, Joel Embiid, and George Murison. Really good starting lineup. I like it a lot. And then Jokic off the bench with Garnett, Isaac, Taco, and Yao Ming. I personally don't think that Garnett is the best card you can use off the bench now. I actually like T-Mac more, even though obviously that Garnett is going to be taller, but I think T-Mac's just going to be better as a backup shooting guard. You've got a really, really elite starting lineup right there. Nothing I can say with that. And then off the bench, again, really nothing I can say. You have an elite team all around. Great height, great end game abilities, everything. Nothing I can say with this team. You have a top 5 team in today's video. You've got Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Dirk, Wemby, and Manute. With a team this stacked, you don't want to run a short point guard, so I would look to replace Steph Curry with the Cade Cunningham, and then, yeah, that's what I would do. or just sell the Paul George or something. And I would honestly sell the Paul George and get an endgame point guard as your starting point guard, a taller one than Steph. And I think that'll make your team a lot better. Next team is going to be by Hector right here. He's got Jokic, Jordan, Kevin Durant, Wilt Chamberlain, and Joel Embiid. I'm going to be honest, you need to move that Jordan to your bench as your backup point guard. Get rid of Lamar completely and look to get Jonathan Bender as a cheap shooting guard or pick up an endgame shooting guard. But running a 6'6 Jordan at the 2 is not going to be smart. Next up, you've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, Scotty, Moses, Manu, and Taco. Such a good lineup, but then you have that trash Scottie Pippen card. I just hate that card. I don't know if it's just me. I think that card is awful. I think you should completely get rid of that card. Keep Garnett as your backup shooting guard. And you have 2 million MT, bro. You can just pick up any card in the game. All right, you can pick up any card in the game and your team... Literally, you could pick up anyone. Just get Kevin Durant as your shooting guard. You have enough to literally buy anyone. Get Wemby as your small forward, and your team will be way better. Bless me. All right, next, I better see bless you in the comments down below. If you guys heard that sneeze right there, I better see bless you in the comments down below. So let's see who is a G. Anyways, next team here is going to be Luka Doncic, Bender. Again, I don't like that Luka Doncic too much. I think you should get Jokic instead. Sell the Luka and get Jokic or Ben Simmons. And then at the center, look to get someone like Opal Yao for cheap. You've got Luka, Bender, Tim Thomas, Murasan, and Yao. Very good starting lineup. Very good bench as well. With 500,000 MT, I would just look to get end games. Again, I would literally just look to get end game cards. Honestly, try to get like an end game Taco or Yao. That'd be super fire for your team. 50,000 MT. Pretty good starting lineup. Not too bad. That D-Rose Westbrook combo off the bench is just horrendous. You definitely need to improve your backup guards. Look to get guys like Jokic, Tim Thomas, Radiant T-Mac, Bender. Those are a couple cards you can pick up for your starting and backup guards. 85,000 MT. You've got Jokic, Ilgauskas, Bobo, Taco, and Murasan. Really good starting lineup. Again, I would move Taco to the bench, Murasan to the power forward, and Yao as a starting center, and then look to get somebody as your backup center like a Mark Eaton, and your team will become a lot better. 5,000 MT, you've got Jokic, Bender, Bobo, Murasan, and Yao. Elite starting lineup. Ben Simmons, T-Mac, Tatum, Pokachevsky, and Porzingis off the bench. I would get rid of Pokachevsky, put Porzingis as a backup power forward, and get a backup center of Mark Eaton, which you'll be able to afford very soon if you have 5K. Taco sells for about 15K. 30,000 MT, you've got LaMelo, Isaac, Kevin Durant, Ilgauskas, and George Murasan. Elite starting lineup. Off the bench, Curry, T-Mac, Tim Thomas, Porzingis, Yao. Elite bench. You have a very good team, my boy. Next up is going to be Jokic, LeBron James, Wembanyama, Manute Bol, and Yao Ming. Really good starting lineup. That LeBron should be coming off your bench, though. I would get rid of the Ja Morant completely and then get Jonathan Bender as your starting shooting guard. We got some more teams here at the bottom, so if you haven't been in yet, make sure to stick around because you're probably going to be in here at the bottom. If you sent in your team, you're going to be in. So, LaMelo Ball, Kevin Durant, Isaac, Embiid. You have 315,000 MT. If you're willing to do anything with that much MT, there's a lot you can do. First things first, I would go to get an endgame point guard and move LaMelo as your backup point guard. So, I would look to get somebody like Magic Johnson as your starting point, the endgame. And then for your small forward spot, I would look to go ahead and get Jonathan Bender, who's only about 6,000 MT. Then for your center, I would get Dark Matter, Yao Ming, and move Ralph Sampson to the backup center. And then I'd look to get guys like Tim Thomas, Dark Matter off your bench. 26 Hall of Fames. Okay, that's perfect then. So this starting lineup is elite. And then off the bench, that Jeremy Lin needs to go for sure. I would look to go ahead and get Ben Simmons as your point guard off the bench. And then as your shooting guard off the bench, I would get Radiant T-Mac. And then as your center off the bench, I would go ahead and get Dark Matter Mark Eaton. 30,000 MT, great quality, my boy. Nah, I'm joking. But a really good starting lineup, really good bench as well. This is a really solid team. Great, one of the best budget teams you can have. Just grind up MT and try to get end games. That's all you can really do. Then you've got Jokic, T-Mac, Jonathan Bender, Mobley, and Yao. And then a great bench as well. I would look to get rid of that Jonathan Isaac and look to get some and move Tim Thomas above him, and he'll be better. You hate end games? Okay, so it's going to be different for you then for sure. Again, I like the out-of-position Jokic as a backup point guard a lot better than the Luka, and I think that's the main thing you definitely need to do for the team. The rest of the team looks really good, though. You have a lot of height, a lot of defense. Maybe sell Ilgauskas, put Murasan as a starting power forward. He's definitely going to be better than that Porzingis, and then get Dark Matter Yao as your backup center, something like that. Let's see what we got here. Great starting lineup. The main thing I would say is that Elton Brand is not that great of a card. I would look to move Tatum in instead. I think the Tatum's better. And then the rest of the team looks really good. 130,000 MT, you've got Lamar Odom, Kevin Durant, Wemby, Bol, and Manute Bol. Very, very elite starting lineup right here. Both Bols, and you got Wemby. Elite lineup, but your bench definitely needs some work. That James Harden is just not a great card. You're going to need to get somebody like out of position Jokic as your backup point guard. And then other than that, the rest of the team looks elite. 100,000 MT, you've got Jokic, Bender, Pokachevsky, George Morrison, and Yao Ming. I would look to sell that Yao Ming and get the Dark Matter version. He's not that much more expensive, so I think it's worth it to do that. In terms of the small forward spot, I would look to, I don't know, I guess the Pokachevsky's not bad. Off the bench, I would look to get a better backup shooting guard and a better backup center. For the backup center, I would look to get Dark Matter Mark Eaton as a backup shooting guard. I would look to get Tracy McGrady. And right here, you've got 8,000 MT. You've got Jokic, Granger, Bender, Porzingis, and Yao. Really good starting lineup. Off the bench, I would look to improve that backup small forward. With 8,000 MT, I would go ahead and get the... Tim Thomas as your backup small forward. You have 200,000 MT, really good starting lineup. I would look to get rid of that Pau Gasol for a pink diamond Taco. With 237,000 MT, I think you should grind up and try to get endgame Taco. 200,000 MT, you got Julius Irving, Isaac, Garnett, Manute Bol, and Taco. Very unique but very good team. Off the bench looks really good as well. This is a really good lineup. Not much I can say there. Lamar, Bender, really good starting lineup. Bench looks really good. Again, not much I can say here. 60,000 MT, really good starting lineup. Really solid bench as well. I would look to get the Mark Eaton over the Ralph Sampson off the bench. Rest of the team looks really, really good. 60,000 MT. I would look to get Jokic as your backup point guard. I would look to go ahead and get Morrison as your starting power forward and move Taco to the bench. You've got 20,000 MT right here. This is the last team of today's video, and you have a really elite lineup. Not much for me to say. One of the best teams in today's video. So if you guys did make it this far into the video, comment a W down below. If you made it this far, comment a W, and I will like and reply to every single comment that has a W in it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to be featured in the next video, follow me on Twitter at GrimFateYT. Like and subscribe right now, and I'm out of here, boys. Peace.